Okay, one mistake that a lot of people make is they think that odds and probability are exactly the same thing. They're not. Okay? If you look on the back of a lottery ticket, it's going to give you the odds, not the probability. Right? If you go to a casino, they're more likely to tell you the odds for winning or the odds for losing, not the probability. So you have to understand there's a slight difference. For example, let's say we roll one die, and we want to know what's the probability of getting, let's say, a 6. Well, let's make it a different number. Let's say a probability of a 5. So the way you figure that out is you figure out the number of ways that you can succeed. That's only one, right? There's only one 5 on the die. Out of the total number of outcomes, which is 6. Actually, I'm going to change this to a 2. You'll see why here in a second. But so the probability of getting a 2, one way to succeed out of 6 ways, total outcomes, so the answer is 1/6. Now, the odds for getting a 2. There's one way you can get a 2. There's 5 ways you could not get a 2. Okay, so when you do odds, you do the number of ways you can succeed, but instead of putting the total outcomes here, you put the number of ways you could fail. The odds against getting a 2 would just be the opposite of that. The odds against getting a 2, well, there's 5 chances you wouldn't get a 2, 1 chance you would get a 2. So you never actually put the total number of outcomes down when you do odds. Let's give you one more example. Example B. Let's say you flip 2 coins. So you could get tails and then tails, tails and then heads, heads and then tails, or heads and then heads. What's the probability of both tails? So what would be the probability of both tails? Not hard. Look up here. What's the probability of getting both tails? 1 out of 4, right? 1 outcome out of 4. So number of ways to succeed. There's only one way you can succeed. There's 4 possible outcomes. Now the odds for getting 2 tails. Well, there's one way you can get 2 tails. There's 3 ways you could fail. So the odds for getting 2 tails would be 1 to 3. The odds against getting 2 tails would just be the opposite of that, 3 to 1. So hopefully you can see the difference between, you notice if you add the 2 odd numbers up, you'll get the total outcomes, which is on the bottom over here. Any questions about that?